Hello everyone, this is Amit Goswami, quantum physicist, consciousness researcher, and a quantum activist. You know, people often ask me, how did you start this quantum activism movement? How did you become a quantum activist? So let's see. I started the quantum activism movement in 2009 with a little bit of desperation in mind, because the idea of integrating science and spirituality made so much sense to me, and I already had the basics written down in a book which was quite popular, sold really quite a bit, and many people got it, no question about it. And then I wrote further books which also were quite popular, but still there was enormous reluctance among scientists especially, but also non-scientists, about accepting it. And so I realized that there is something in the quantum worldview that really scares people today. People today have been sold with the idea that we live only in the space-time, matter-motion world. There's nothing except this. This is what defines nature. Talk about every other world is not nature, supernatural. This prejudice has entered people, and therefore whoever talks about this domain outside of space and time, they're immediately labeled supernatural, and nobody wants that label, and that's why they're squeamish about agreeing with this idea that quantum physics suggests. And quantum physics is very clear. Objects are waves of possibility. You do not see possibility in space and time, therefore these objects must live in a domain outside of space and time. We call it domain of potentiality. When we measure, of course, the objects become particles of actuality, and this is called wave-particle duality and so forth. I have explained this in many books and webinars, so I won't go into that. But in quantum physics, it's very clear that there is the domain of potentiality and then domain of actuality. What domain of potentiality consists of? And then this Einstein-Podolsky-Rosen paradox that brings the concept of non-locality versus locality. In space and time, all communication takes place with local signals. Signals going to space taking a little time. In the domain of potentiality, on the other hand, objects can be so entangled that they can have instant communication. So there is a potential oneness in that domain. And that potential oneness, on further examination, is nothing but our consciousness. But why are people so reluctant? Because it's not so obvious. In our ordinary consciousness, we are very much machine-like. It's a little bit of consciousness. We know that we are different. We are not machine, because we can think and we have an experience of being the experiencer of the thought. It's not just the object. We also exist as an experiencer. So we sense that. It's called subjectivity or subjective quality. That cannot be denied. But nevertheless, what can bring us to believe that there really is a consciousness that transcends this ego, that goes beyond the ego, that really belongs to another dimension of reality, another domain of reality, domain of potentiality? Psychologists have discovered it indirectly. They call it unconscious, but even that is not very convincing, because materialists say, well, the brain can act two ways, unconscious and conscious. Can the brain as a material object be conscious? They debate a lot about this. Of course, it can't. That is the whole point of bringing quantum physics into the affair. So, essentially, what I had to discover are three things that makes it possible to look at consciousness in this way, that there really are two domains of reality. One is unconscious, one is conscious, and both are domains within consciousness. One way is the non-locality that I talked about earlier. The other is called discontinuity. We discover it via creativity. In creativity, we have to discover something new. Beyond the knowledge recorded in space and time. That is all old knowledge. That's not creative. However much you take permutation and combination, you are not going to get anything really new from studying the old. So where does the new come from? Domain of potentiality. So you can discover this new reality with quantum leaping, discontinuous changes to this domain of potentiality, creativity, by being creative. So one way by being non-local, namely relationship, love is an example. Another way, creativity, this creative quantum leaps of creative people like artists, musicians, writers, scientists. All of these people are creative people when they discover something new, and that's what we enjoy. There is the third way as well. This one is called tangled hierarchy. You know, in our relationship, ordinarily we are simple hierarchical. We try to dominate the other. Both of us, both partners. And this never can really establish a relationship which is truly full of love or respect, things that we want in the relationship, things that we covet. So what is the mystery of that? Some people, on the other hand, do actually love, do actually respect. Well, what is their secret? Quantum physics gives us the secret. The secret is called tangled hierarchy. A way to live where you give equal value to the other. In other words, you and the other create yourselves, create both of you. You create the other, he or she creates you. This is called tangled hierarchy. Like Escher's drawing hand. The left hand draws the right, right hand draws the left. It's a beautiful way of relating. But they all require a transformation from the base level human being where we are living simple